Two questions I've got for you. Number one, has Peter O'Mahony, the great Peter O'Mahony, already started his last test match for Ireland? He's on the bench. That's one of the headline selections from Andy Farrell ahead of this second test in Durban against South Africa. And second question, is this the Ireland team that's going to level the series and draw 1-1 with the world champion BOKS on their own patch? I'll cover both of those questions off, look at where the balance of power lies, the tactical nuances that I think we're going to see, and I've got a combined 23-man squad. If you had access to all the South Africans and all the Irishmen that are out on the field on Saturday, which combined team would you pick? And what does that tell us about how this one's going to go? Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm Tim. This is Egg Chasers. I'm here in Umhlanga, in my hotel room in Umhlanga, just taking a little break from the sunshine. It's amazing here. Really is spectacular. And yeah, just ducked in to do this video. And I'd love it if you get stuck in the comments. I'll be down there with you. Give the video a thumbs up and hit subscribe as well. So, yeah, headlines for this team then. Peter O'Mahony is on the bench, replaced in the 15 by James Ryan, where in the 6 jersey will be Tadhg Beirne, with Ryan in the second row. And the other change in the pack is an enforced one, with Dan Sheehan injured, a horrible ACL injury, and Ronan Kelleher coming in for him. Backline, there's 2 changes, both enforced. We already knew about Craig Casey being out injured. Bundy Aki also on the physio table. I'm hearing shoulder. I haven't had that officially said. Andy Farrell's got a press conference in a little while, but I think that's the case. Gary Ringrose comes in and starts. Robbie Henshaw shifting inside to 12 with Rob Herring, Caelan Blade and Bergster McCloskey on the bench. So those are the headlines. What do you think of the team? Comments down below. It's weird. It's kind of with all the injuries, with all the unavailabilities, I'm looking at that side and thinking, is that a slightly more balanced team? I don't know. There's an argument because Ronan Kelleher is a very, very good hooker. Dan Sheehan is world class, but Kelleher's not far behind him. There's an argument that the pack could be a net improvement, or at least not a dip, which is saying something, bearing in mind losing such a good player in Dan Sheehan. In the backs, obviously Conor Murray has got limitations on his game, and the game did feel like it slowed down a little bit when he came on, but no lack of experience in a big game. He knows Jack Crowley well, so there should be a level of confidence in that one. Robbie Henshaw, that shot from Sia Khaleesi, I wondered whether Robbie Henshaw might also be out. It looked like quite a heavy shot. So obviously he's gone through the protocol and stuff, but I was anticipating that Robbie Henshaw might not be in the game, but there we go. I guess that's good news for Ireland, and in Stuart McCloskey, a very capable man on the bench covering the midfield. I think Ireland's injuries, and you know there were some before this series with Jameson Gibson-Park, obviously, and Mac Hansen, but the ones that were just sustained on Saturday just highlights how remarkable it is that South Africa have named the same 23-man squad. It was a brutal match, and South Africa naming the same 23 in itself is a little bit of a statement. It's kind of like, yeah, we won the test and we're fine. Whereas Ireland, you were hearing reports of walking wounded around the team hotel on Sunday and Monday. So I'm glad there's no more than just Bundy Aki also out, but yeah, it does highlight the toll that it's taken on Ireland, and maybe the more of a toll on Ireland than on their opponent South Africa. That remains to be seen, doesn't it? The Craig Casey injury, by the way, I think actually just highlights playing in South Africa, because that injury to Craig Casey, almost like a whiplash injury after his tackle, that injury does not happen if the game is played in Dublin, because the grounds are just that much harder around here. Not concrete, and actually, when I was at Craven Week and pointed out the pitches were really hard, I got the locals laughing at me going, this is like a pillow compared to how it normally is. So it takes a bit of adjustment, I think. As for Peter O'Mahony, let's talk about that selection then. Has he started his last test match for Ireland? Has the baton now been handed over in terms of captaincy to Caelan Doris, who is the skipper for this one? If it has, and I suspect that is the case, this may be Peter O'Mahony's last test match. If that is the case, and as I say, I suspect it is, then I imagine Peter O'Mahony wouldn't want it any other way. Nothing about him, no sentiment, Nothing ceremonial. Just Caelan Doris, your captain now. I'm on the bench, and I'll do what I can as I exit what has been an incredible career for Ireland. You know, if you watch this channel for any length of time, how much I love Peter O'Mahony. So anyway, one thing I will say is Peter O'Mahony on the field in the final quarter of a game, that could be really positive for Ireland. It felt, I mean, the players look to him, and he just has a very good way with words just to motivate a team and get them all on the same page. And he's done that as captain for Munster and for Ireland. It looked like Ireland sort of lost their way a little bit in the final quarter of the game, and South Africa will probably feel like they should have won by more, and they should have put that game to bed in the final quarter with some of the kicks, with some of the opportunities they didn't take. They had a scrum that was on top, and you just wonder, actually, does the leadership of Peter O'Mahony on the field at the end of a game, could that be a real benefit to Ireland? I think it could be. As for a combined team, again, tell me what you think selection-wise in the comments down below. In terms of a combined team, this is what I've come up with. Again, the 23 for Ireland and the 23 for South Africa. If you had to pick one in each number, one of the number ones, one of the number twos, one of the number threes, and so on, all the way down to 23, what would it look like? For me, it looks like this. I've got 3 Irishmen in the pack. I thought Andrew Porter was excellent last weekend, so I've nudged him ahead of Oxenche, who I picked last time out. And I mean, that is the one big concern. Actually, I'll just come out of this for a second. That is the one big concern you have when you look at Ireland, is the fact Andrew Porter, who again was one of those players who you'd heard had a bit of a knock and was a bit not 100% after the game. You look at that squad and that bench and you think, Andrew Porter, you've got to play another 75 minutes, mate, if Ireland are going to have any chance. Massive challenge for him. He did brilliantly last week, and when he goes off, Ireland really suffered. I've gone for Bongi and Mbambi at hooker now with no Dan Sheehan. Interesting, Bongi and Mbambi saying that what did he say? I made a note of it. He said he wants the scrums to be fairer on the field, and he even felt like, bearing in mind they got a penalty try from a pushover, he still felt that in the first half, when Ireland actually had some parity and won a couple of penalties, he felt it wasn't fairly assessed. So the BOKS are still out to prove a point in the pack. I've gone for Franco Mostert over James Ryan. I'm using the South African numbering system with the blindside flanker in 7. So I've picked Peter Steph du Toit ahead of Tadhg, but they're both incredible players. They would both make a world 15 for me at the minute. Josh van der Fleer over Siya Kolisi. That was a close one. I thought Siya Kolisi had a really good game. Maybe was taken off a little too early with the game he was playing. But Caelan Doris at number 8. And then, as I did last week, I cannot pick a single Irishman ahead of their opposite number. I thought Handré Pollard had an off day, but I don't expect a player like Handré Pollard to have 2 bad games in a row. So I've still got him ahead of Jack Crowley, who is excellent. Gary Ringrose and Robbie Henshaw are excellent, but I just cannot look past those BOKS centres. James Lowe was kind of sublime and ridiculous in that game last week, an amazing player. But Cheslin Colby, I pick ahead of him. And there you go. I've just got 1 Irishman on the bench because Ireland have gone for a 5-3 split. South Africa with a 6-2 split. There you go. That's my thoughts anyway. Tell me yours. By all means, I'll be down there in the comments with you. But that's the thing about, as I keep saying about this Irish team, as they demonstrated last week, player for player, you can say South Africa have got an edge here, there. But Ireland as a collective have something very special. And that is what Andy Farrell, he manages to squeeze more out of his players than they should be capable of delivering. And they are exceptional players. They're up against the world champions, who are now 1 game less rusty, down at sea level, which, I mean, that should be an advantage to Ireland. And actually, in terms of Loftus-Versfeld is the place where South Africa have the best record of wins, and Durban is one of the places where they have the poorest. It's relative because they still have a very good record here, but it's relative. So, I just think the fact that South Africa have gone same 23, the fact that Ireland have had to make changes, and the fact there's other players that were maybe a bit battered, Ireland have got to pick themselves up off the canvas 1 more time before they get to have a rest. And they're definitely capable of doing that. They've got nothing to lose. I think they can just go for it. The excuses for Ireland are already written. What have they got to lose? They can win. They absolutely can win. Do I think they will win? No. I predicted South Africa by 7 last week, and I was on the money. I'm going to predict South Africa by 12 on this one. 34-22. 34-22. That's my prediction for this game. There you go. Just pluck that one out of nowhere. Let's see how accurate that is when we're talking about it on Saturday evening, which is where I will be. I will be moving down from Umhlanga to Kings Park on Saturday, and I'll be taking this channel with me. I'll be bringing you all the access from the fields where everyone's having the braais and the beers before the game, post-game as well. So please hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. Let me know your comments down below. Give the video a thumbs up. I'll see you on the next one.